Uncut is coming October 26th to Theater Inn. We need you in the building.
October 26th, listen to me very carefully, fellas. Come out. We don't have an issue getting the ladies in the building, but we need y'all. We need to be able to enlighten ourselves, open our minds. Rebirth Live 5 is
the grown and sexy. Ladies, come on out with your best dress on, with your fly heels. Let's have a good time and make our voices known.
Come out and enjoy your voice, man. Don't be sitting in the back not asking questions. This is for you too. This is not just for always women. This is for men as well. We have a voice. We have feelings. We have things we want to get off our chest. And guess what? It's live and uncut. You get to speak without being filtered.
Rebirth Live.
For coming. Everybody else, have you been to Rebirth Live before?
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So listen, Shay, this is number 5, y'all, and we wouldn't be here without y'all and without guys. So we want to thank you guys. Definitely want to thank him and y'all. So give it up for yourself.
Go ahead, Corey.
Just want to let y'all know this is my 3rd drink. So
Be a
in trouble tonight. And real quick, so last year, if y'all were here last year, I sat on this stage and I talked about my story about meeting my mom for the first time at age 40. Any of y'all remember that? Well, last year she couldn't make it, but she is here tonight. So go ahead and stand up. Now that I said that, I'm gonna say some stuff tonight you're gonna call me tomorrow for.
That's all right.
But welcome everybody, welcome everybody.
All right, guys, as you can see, we're going to start off with the ladies panel. And if you're new to the Rebirth Live, it is an experience. And what we do is we ask the ladies questions, and then once we finish with them, we're going to bring the men's panel up, ask them questions, and then everybody's going to come up, and then the audience, you guys have your turn to ask whatever questions that you would like. We already had people write into us all the way up until before we came out with questions. So we are going to make sure that we get those questions answered for you because you're in the audience, and I know, we have a lot that we want to talk about, okay? Yeah. So y'all ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's give it up for DJ Tindo.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's give it up for the vendors and the food. Come on, make sure y'all support the vendors out there. Let's give it up to Theater Inn. This is our 2nd time back. Thank you so much. All right, ladies, you ready? Yes. All right. So my first question to you is, what does it mean to be a woman?
You ain't heard that before.
Being a woman. No?
Yeah, we got you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Grab that mic just crazy.
Okay. I can do that,
I know.
I think being a woman for me is about embracing my femininity, not being afraid of anything, leaning in on my life experiences. And when fear creeps up, it really is about me recognizing, that I am resilient, that I am worthy, and I am loved. And so being a woman is about power for me. And I think most of us would love to embrace the opportunity just to be feminine and lean into our gift as women and power as women.
I'll weigh in. For me, I think being a woman is knowing and internalizing my design, and being open to evolving, right? Understanding where I've come from, right? And having the grace to embrace where I'm going. Understanding my body that may be different from Tracy's body, And so being a woman encompasses so much, right? And is ever changing.
I think for me, being a woman is about being multifaceted, being able to adapt into different roles, being able to pivot to, you know, whatever life throws at you, being able to adapt, you know, no matter what life circumstances, you know, throw at you.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, I guess we'll move to the next question. All right. Go ahead.
We often hear other women say, I don't fool with women like that. I prefer men as friends. What has happened in our sisterhood that causes, I feel like you should be reading this. What has happened in the women's sisterhood? Yeah, go
Start from the beginning.
I feel like, yeah. I feel like it's a man law violation question.
I'll read all the ladies' questions. All right, so we had someone write in, and she said, we often hear other women say, I don't feel like dealing with women like that. I prefer men as friends. How many people has heard that before? Okay, all right, okay. So the question is, what has happened in our sisterhood to cause this to happen?
I think that the main thing is that we are wounded. There are some women that are still wounded by past experiences and moments in their life that they are dragging the past into the present. So every woman presently looks like something from the past, unfortunately. And I think is not all women, but I think it's a disgrace for women to say that about another woman. Because when you say that, you're saying it about yourself. So I really believe when women talk that way, ladies, we're not talking because someone is currently hurting us. We're talking that way because someone in the past, like 1919 hurt you. And we in 2020, right? Like sometimes we got to look at that instead of just labeling all the women currently from the past.
Thank you, Michelle. I think I'm gonna go next. Can you guys hear me? Yes.
Okay, there we go. I also think that it has a lot to do with social media too. What you see on the internet, like everybody's so in competition with each other. And it's like, this is not a competition. We're running this race together. It's not about who looks the best. It's not about who has the better career, but about elevating each other. So, like, honestly, that's what I believe is social media. And once we get a handle on that, I believe that we can actually be able to come together as women and not say, I don't fool with women. And by nature, you know, we're emotional creatures, right? So we naturally bring emotions, and sometimes people don't know how to cope or deal with that. So instead of saying I don't deal with women like that, it should be more so I just don't deal with emotional people because I don't know how to deal with that. It comes down to self. So.
Hey, Shay, you know what I was just thinking when she was talking? You know, why is it so easy for us as women to say that I don't deal with women like that? But we deal with we deal with men that mistreats us.
Right.
But you never hear like women say, I don't fool with men like that because that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
I was just thinking.
But to your point, Michelle, I think it speaks to like the mother wound. Right? You talked about women being wounded. And so it's not an issue that is like beyond someone else. It's their issue. And so we learn from our family, right? And so more than likely we trace back that same woman who was talking about I don't deal with women, we can trace back a woman wound.
That's good.
So I think too, we have to stop generalizing when we say I don't fool with women like that. Just say the name of the person that you don't fool with, right? I don't fool with Rhonda. I don't fool with,
Right. And stop generalizing, that. Because it's okay to not share space with certain people that have hurt you. But don't generalize it. Don't make it about every woman. Don't make it about every man. Okay? Right, you ain't even do anything. Right?
I'm sorry, I'd like to add to, what you're saying. I think oftentimes, too, sometimes I've found that women, and speaking from experience, place higher expectations for our female friendships than we do our own intimate partners. And sometimes there's a disconnect between, what we're expecting and what we're actually experiencing in that relationship.
So how do we, ladies, how do we begin to fix this problem, right? Because we're talking about it, but what's the call of action? How do we fix our sisterhood?
I think, I'm going to chime in on this, because I was going to say this, women are just messy sometimes. But I think doing some self-analysis of who you are is a first step, right? Because we all have women in our lives that are, maybe doing better than we are. And then there's the jealousy piece. But why not be inspired by her? Why not align with her to understand where she came from and get some of that, And so I think self-analysis, self-discovery, spending some time with yourself to understand where you're wounded, where you need to be healed is a first step for us to become aligned as women.
Yes, very good.
Thank you, Tracy.
I'd like to piggyback, if that's okay.
Sure, that's fine.
Also, communication. Like you said earlier, Shay, go to the person and tell them what happened, because sometimes people are not aware that they've hurt you, and you guys just stop talking. There's a silent treatment, and you're like, I don't know what I did, because there was not that communication piece. So definitely communication.
Thank you.
So I have a question, ladies. I've asked this question before, but I want to answer it. I want to answer it tonight. This panel. So, ladies, you meet a great guy. He checks off all the things you have on the list that you want as a man. He's handsome. He's in great shape. He may have a drink every blue moon. He's just responsible. Fiscally, he's responsible. He does all these things. No, I'm trying to jump into the mind of a woman. Or what y'all are looking for. He's emotionally centered. All these great things. He has a car. He has an apartment. The things that women really want a man to have if you're going to step to me. 401k, the whole nine. But he works at McDonald's. And he's happy being on fries. He doesn't live beyond his means. Any of that. Mr. Trump. Because we often talk about we want a man with his own crib, his own car.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, Trump, the president,
You on fries.
You often talk about what y'all want in a man. He meets all those checkpoints, but he makes $35K a year and he works at McDonald's and he's happy. Would you date him?
He missed one of the checkpoints, Eli.
What's that?
Ambition.
There's a couple of checkpoints.
Okay, talk to me.
I mean, emotionally intelligent.
He has that.
Emotionally available. Has done some healing.
Okay, so we're gonna say all those things are in check. Okay. But he works at McDonald's. He makes $35K a year. He's happy. He doesn't live beyond his means. He has a crib. He has a car. McDonald's has great benefits.
Yeah.
Has a 401k. But because when you get to the part where do you work, that becomes the problem. Can you date the guy who has his stuff together, but he works at McDonald's and he's cool with that?
So I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes because, and this is a question that is going to come up later on a men's panel. It's important that we understand what providership is.
Yeah.
And what type of providership that we're looking for. Because a lot of times when we talk about, we want somebody to provide for us, or on the opposite side, if a man says, well, I'm a provider, it's always a financial thing. But if I have my own bag, I might not need your bag. Yeah. I might need somebody that's going to hold me down, that's going to nurture me.
That's right.
I work hard, that's going to, take care of me, that's loyal, that's consistent.
Yeah.
So it depends on what providership means to that person.
Right.
So for me, yes, I would.
I think I heard you say women grow up.
Women grow up. That's what you heard I say.
I out of all that, I think that's what I heard.
I think the other piece of that is while we can accept him, can he accept us in our financial strength and ambition and, power? Can he accept us? He works at McDonald's and I'm chief whatever. Can he accept me? Right?
So I got it.
I'm just saying because we as women know what we need to hold us down. And it may not be that salary. It may be someone to validate us, to comfort us, to hold us, to love us, to cheer us on. It may not be about the financial.
Right.
So I'm going to say to that, I respect that, first and foremost. But however, men, so Corey, fellas in the room, how many of us meet a woman and our first question is, what do you do for a living? We pretty much don't go to that. We never do that. Because if we find you attractive and then we are vibing on a certain level and we see, there's a vibe there. If you work at McDonald's on Fridays, there's zero pressure. If I step to you and I have a great job, why isn't it like that both ways? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, to me, it's just like, it's just this thing with men. We don't really date women. Most men, I don't say, not all, most men don't really date women because of their career. Or if I meet a woman and she lives at home with her mother, am I going to not continue to date her because she lives with her mom? But let me live with my mother. I'm out of here.
Well, I think the other question is, if she lives at home with her mom, do we take her serious? Yes. Right? So are we going to wife this person? Or is this a person that we're just hitting and quitting and dating? And I agree with you. We don't ever ask that question, what do you do for a living? Right? It's really irrelevant.
I'm dating over 50. And men now ask me, what do I do for a living? Who do I live with? Right? Where do I live? They're asking these questions. I never had these questions in my 20s. I did start having them in my 30s. But men are now sizing us up just like we used to size them up. Because they're looking for a safe place to land. I'm not saying that men are not accomplished. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that they have a plethora of women who are successful, and they're sizing us up, just like we used to size them up. And so, yes, I do get that question. Okay. In my 50s, actually in my 40s, maybe in my 30s. Where do you live? Who do you live with? How many kids you have, and what do you do for a living? Actually, I'm on the dating sites, and that's one of the first questions.
You know why? You look like you're somebody.
Because I am.
So here's my follow-up question to that. It kind of bleeds into that question. So as you see everything on social media, and you hear like this vibe going around about 50-50 on bills. How do you ladies feel about going 50-50 on bills or just paying overall? You go out to dinner, do you pay the bill? Are you reaching for the bill at all? Or your hands broke? Or how do you feel about going 50-50 on bills, period?
Can I take this one?
I know you can't wait.
Well, so the first thing I'm going to say is different strokes for different folks. You guys have to have that understanding of how things are going to be taken care of in the household, and the household needs to be taken care of first. Now, if the agreement is 50-50, okay, cool. From experience, I've actually had a guy that I tried to date, and he said he just wants me to pay for dates 25% of the time. So
you calculate.
So listen. No, I'm because I looked at him like,
everyone
sir, what? No, but he said for every fourth date, I pay. And I was like, you know what? I don't have an issue with that. But naturally me, and this is just me, I can't speak for every woman out there, but if a man pays the bill, I at least offer to That's just, the kind thing to do. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but that's for me. So.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Go ahead.
I think it's, and I'm 51. Go ahead and applaud. Thank you very much. I think it's nothing more sexier for a woman to say, honey, I got the bill. Because you just touch the man in a different place when you see him. And so, like you said, to each his own. I don't demand or expect a man to pay when he takes me out, but sometimes I do like to surprise him in a way and say, hey, honey, I got it. Am I right about that, ladies? You see how my voice just came on that? Go ahead and applaud. That was a good point right there.
I mean, men like to be taken care of too.
Yeah.
They like dates planned for them too, believe it or not. They might not come out and say it. Oh, look at me!
But it's true though.
I think it has to be a conversation that you have. I mean, what is the date? Is it a coffee date, or if it's like, what are you aspiring to? I think it's a conversation. It's a part of, we prepping and preparing. I don't expect a man to pay for all of our dates. The first date, yes. But like you said, I offered to pay the tip. There are some men who will not let me pay for the date. And so I will acquiesce and do something else. But I think it's all about setting expectations from go. What are your expectations of me as a friend or as a potential partner?
All right, thank
Tracy
you.
say acquiesce. Come through, Tracy, with the big words, and say so I think we can generally agree that most women they hand turn the Fred Sanford hand. We get our rights when it's time to get that bill, but you can't pick that up with your hand.
I think you have to understand who you're dating.
Yes.
The type of woman that you're dating. So that's going to be important. So the next question is, do you believe that a lot of women attach their worth to their accomplishments?
That's a great question.
Do you believe that a lot of women attach their worth to their accomplishments?
I believe they do. I don't even think it's gender-based, really. I think men and women do, and unfortunately, it's a pitfall, because when those external factors disintegrate, right, or go away, then they're left with not feeling good about themselves.
I was going to say I also believe so. As a Haitian American woman, right, firstborn, right, two parents who came to America, right, it was drilled in my head that, grade school, like it was drilled into my head that those accomplishments were super important, right? And so naturally became the mindset that is a part of me. Getting good grades, having this ideal job, because often my parents would tell me growing up, I didn't come to America for you to do the bare minimum, to have a less than decent job. Like, I came here so you could get your career, go for your career, do the things that I couldn't do back home.
Okay.
I think that's the ultimate setup for us for failure in our relationships, that we attach our title and our financials to define who we are. Because at the end of the day, when you are in health crises, it's not your bank account that's going to take care of you. And so I think that redefining who you are based on your value system, right? The aspirations you have for your life are much more worthy and important.
So I think it's changed over the years, because it used to be if we got married and we had children and we had a family and we had that home, that's what our worth was in regards to, attaching. It's just now moving into the direction of career, right? Because it's a lot of women bosses out here now, That's right, give it up. And on top of that, we're still married or raising kids and still have careers, right? So I think that over time it has changed, right? And it's okay for us to say I am this and I am this and I do have these titles, but I am also a mother, I'm also a wife or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So are men intimidated by your titles and your degrees? Many people are running into that when you tell them what you do for a living. If you are, you're doing well and you have a great career. How do men handle that?
I don't think it was so much. I don't think it wasn't so much of it was more so what I did, right? So if I met someone and they found out that I was a therapist, they'd be like, oh, you gonna therapize me? You know what I'm saying? I would get that all the time. So
brothers don't want no therapy.
Yeah. Ladies, anybody else?
I say yes. I've absolutely had that a lot, and I don't know if it's just where I am. So I live in Dover. Not sure if that makes a difference. But a lot of times when I tell people what I do, they're like, "Oh, you a boss, so you got it." And then I find that a lot of the young men out here are trying to more or less move in, and I'm like, absolutely not, because the roles have kind of changed in a sense. Like guys in the dating game now, guys are looking to be taken care of by a woman instead of a woman being taken care of by men or them being able to provide together. And that is a very big issue that I have run into quite frequently. And I'm just like, what is going on out here? Like, first sign of that's a red flag, you gotta go.
So quick question. So we talked about, your career and your title. Each lady up here, who are you after 5 o'clock? Right, so that's the question that men are starting to ask. How about that? So I think the thing is, it's all good that you have a career and you're this boss person and you have all these degrees and the thermometer goes up and comes down and all of these things are great. And I think that we should encourage women to be who they aspire to be, right? Gone are the days of women staying in the house, being pregnant and taking care of the home. You all are bosses, you're making money and you're making decisions. And we trust you to make decisions, but the thing for us is important is that who are you after 5 o'clock, right? So to your point about being a therapist, maybe we don't want you to therapize us after 5 o'clock, right? We want you to put that hat down, or that boss title down, or that masculinity down, right? And when you, after 5 o'clock, does your phone go away? Or are you still carrying that boss title, or you're still carrying all of those things when you come home? Because we don't know that.
She's ready over here. She's ready over here. She's ready. I'm sorry.
Okay, come on.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tracy.
I will say that most women don't want to be a boss bitch. We are put into that position because some men don't know how to man up.
Thank you.
Hold on, because they get ready to try to come for us, Tracy. Hold on.
So after 5, I want to relinquish my boss bitch queen, Tiara, and I want to fold into you, man. Right? I said man. I want to fold into you because it's exhausting being a boss bitch. I'm saying that. And so we have been thrust into that position, and we want to relinquish it to a man that can handle that, right? And so I am a woman who revels in her femininity when I am capable and he's accepting of me doing that. We have been sold a bill of goods that says that we revel in being bosses. And we do not. It is killing us. We are not in our rightful place in our femininity being bosses. And yes, want to relinquish. We go to college, very different than Caucasian women. We go to college to be independent and to survive. White women go to college to find a husband who cares for them. There is a problem here, right? So we want to, Corey, I'm sorry. We want to after 5 o'clock. We want to throw off the tiara or the whatever the stick we carry as boss bitches. We want to relinquish that and be loved on. We want to feel secure and safe.
All right. All right. That was cute. But notice my question was, who are you after 5 o'clock? I didn't challenge you as a boss. I didn't call you a boss bitch. I didn't say anything about who you are. I said, who are you after 5 o'clock? All you gave me was, she didn't tell me.
Corey, that comment was necessary. She was basically saying, who are you allowing me to be?
No. I asked a specific question. I didn't say who I'm allowing you to be. I'm asking, who are you
It looks different.
after 5 o'clock? And what I got was, here's what I would like to be, right? So all I'm asking is, and that's some of that's the problem, right? We're met with and I'm not saying we're aggressive at all. But what I am saying is that we're met with that level of aggression, and that will silence a man from trying to meet you halfway and communicate with you. All I did was just ask the question of, who are you after 5 o'clock? And I said, I would like each one of the ladies to answer that question. So maybe the question is, who do you aspire to be after 5 o'clock? Does it change?
Secure in my femininity. Not making decisions, having someone stand up in his place as man. Yes, that's who I want to be after 5.
So let me say real quick, because I know we're coming to the end. When women have been the boss beat in their home, in their job, and you have to really hold it down for yourself, and a good man comes in, are you capable of relinquishing that? But when he shows up, are you able to give that up and put the skirt on and not wear the pants?
Can I address this? Because I hate conversations like this, because it brings us down so small, as if we're not capable of being more than a CEO or more than a manager or in high power positions. So I'm going to answer your question, Corey, because I love the question that you asked. So after I get off of work, whatever that time is, I'm a safe place. I'm a safe place. I'm a wise place. I'm a loving place. Because when I come home or when I'm meeting up with him, I don't want to dump everything on him. Now he's carrying his load and my load. That's not right. So it's important that when we're both coming home and we're both coming together, there is a mutual level of respect. Because again, just that vibe that we just had, it was all about either her or him. Why can't it be about us? Yeah. Who are we after we get off of work? Who are we for each other after work? So, it's not about the title. I'm a woman of more, so we don't rock with titles. We rock with purpose, and my purpose as after work is to make sure that I'm providing a safe place for myself first. I'm not looking for him to supply a safe place for me first. Absolutely. Secondly, I'm going to make sure he has a space. He doesn't always have to go to the cave to find rest. So his cave should be right here with me. Any witnesses out in the house? His first cave should be with me. He should have to go to the basement to get away to find peace. He should find it with me first.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you've been to my house, so you already know I got safe spaces all around my house. Yeah, when I'm done, I like to be able to relax and just be me, be silly, you know, be silly and, you know, be a mom and spend time with my family and, you know, it's cook. I like to cook, you know, I like to exercise, you know, I like to do those things to pour back into me because all day I'm pouring into others, right? So if I don't do these things for myself, I can't expect the person that I'm with to do them for me if he doesn't see that I'm taking care of myself as well, right? So who am I after all of that? I'm Shay, I'm a child of God, I'm a mom, I'm loving, I'm silly, you know, I'm tired. You know, I'm tired, I want to be nurtured, you know. So yeah.
Speaking of that, you say you're a mom. Son too?
Yes, my babies! Ain't no babies no more, y'all. Yeah, my son came up from DSU. Yes, according to the audience, okay. And my other son, Bryson and Xavier, both are here along with my son's roommate. And Josh, he grew up with my boys. So all of them are my sons. Only 2 of them are my biological sons. But I love them all. Thank you guys for coming.
You said you wanted all of us to answer the question.
Yeah.
I'm a dog mom. After I get off of work. And I relax.
I think for me, similar to Shay, I want to just kind of just be goofy, you know, be silly, just exist without having to lead anyone or think about anything or make anything or show up in any other spaces but just myself, just exist, just let my hair down, just breathe, just be me.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this is the last question for the ladies panel, and we're going to move. Yeah, time is moving, and then we're going to move to our men. Okay, let me see if I can explain this. So I had someone write in, and she said, "Why do some women like a man and think that he is the man for her, but later she finds out that he actually does not fit into her life, and then she's trying to figure out how to get rid of him."
Can you repeat the question?
So let me break it down a little bit more. Sometimes we can see someone and we can say, man, that's a nice guy, right? He's really nice and I do like him, right? But because he's nice and because I like him, now I make him a mate, right? So later on, I may find out that he actually doesn't fit in my life the way I wanted him to fit, but I'm now saying that I've settled, right? So when we like someone, we can just like them and just say that's a nice person, but maybe that's just not the person for me. But sometimes ladies, we try to mold and shape and make that man fit into, you know, the things that we want him to fit into. And then when it turns around and it's not fitting, now we're saying that we're settled. We're settling.
I'm going to answer this. I think it really comes down to discernment and what it is, knowing that what it is that we really truly want as a woman. Because I've even had to tell myself this, like every man that I come in contact with is not going to be the man, or not even be somebody that I need to try to pursue anything with. We can just be friends, and we can leave it at that, and that's okay. But we have to get in a space where we are okay with that, and asking, not to put religion or spirituality or anything like that into it, but you know, if you do believe in God, asking God for that gift of discernment to be able to weed out the people who are not for us, but just are okay being friends.
Anybody else?
I believe in compartmentalizing. So I believe that not everyone that I meet is a prospective mate. There are people that enter our lives for different reasons, right? And we're not building a bear anymore. Like, we don't need to do that. And so just accept people for who they are, how they show up for you, believe it, and then you can decide whether this is a person that needs to be, that you want in your life or not, right? Not so we meet a guy, he may have the physical characteristics that we like, and we think we're going to mold him into something that we want. And that's a recipe for disaster. You know, that is not, usually viable. And so being clear and intentional about your interactions with people is helpful, right? To discerning whether this person is a prospective mate or not. And really, like, trust yourself and believe in, what you dreamed of and aspire to be true. And wait, be patient with yourself and believing, because you sabotage yourself, you demoralize yourself when you try to fit this person into something that you envisioned for yourself, and then it damages them too. So it's a recipe for disaster. And there are so many great people out here that are just not meant to be your partner. They may be in your life to teach you something, influence you in some way, and be patient. Just be patient with yourself. If it's for you, it will show up consistently for you.
All right, thank you. I just want to make sure I understand this. So you're essentially asking why women settle. Basically, okay. That's the question that she has. So a couple things for me come to mind, speaking from my own personal experience, right? Oftentimes we have expectations about how relationships should be, especially when you come from a culture that puts a lot of pressure to have kids by a certain age, have a career by a certain age, right? And so oftentimes there's this pressure to move faster in a relationship than where it actually really is, and sometimes we're living in our head about how the relationship should be, how we want it to be, than what it actually is. So oftentimes we're looking or experiencing relationships through rose-colored glasses, right? We are ignoring red flags or things that are a concern, right? And it's not until those kind of rose-colored glasses come off that we realize that, damn, maybe I shouldn't kind of brush that to the side, you know what I mean? Maybe this relationship isn't what I thought it was.
So I'm going to end it with just simple. Date all seasons. Because who you dating in the summer may not be the person in the wintertime, right? We see people mood change just like the seasons change. So date all seasons and make sure not only look at the person, because we have a habit of looking at the person that we're dating instead of looking at who we are connected to the person, right? I'm going to say that again. We have a habit of looking at the other person versus who we are connected to the person. So if I'm with this man and I'm dating him, and I feel like every time I'm with him, I'm not happy, or I'm, angry all the time, that's not something I experienced before I was dating this person. Perhaps maybe that connection that I think I have is not a connection, right? So who are you connected to the person? What does this person bring out in you? Do they bring out the silliness in you? Do they bring out the boss in you? Do they bring out the friend in you? So to answer her question, date all season, and not just look at who the person is, but who you are connected to the person. Right? All right, guys, let's give it up for the ladies. All right, DJ, let's go. All right, guys, welcome to the panel. Y'all ready? So we're going to start off with, we touched on this question with the ladies a little bit. What does providership mean to you as a man?
Come on, man. Come on.
Come on, fellas, that's what you say.
So hold on, let me say this to the fellas. My ask of all of y'all
is to be 100% honest with this Christ story. And the reason why I say that, because every time we get done a Rebirth Live, there's men that will say, yo, I could have said that. I'm glad you said it. I'm glad this conversation happened. So I want everybody to just make sure we honest. We're going to keep it real with everybody. Cool? Cool. Yes. All right, y'all. So what's the question, Jay?
What does providership mean to you as a man?
Go ahead, Uncle. You got it, Uncle. I'm always coming home first.
Providership as a man. I believe a man should have certain characteristics. He should be a leader. He should have the ability to provide for the people that he's responsible for. He should have wisdom. He should have the ability to communicate that wisdom to the people that he's responsible for, and even to the people he's not responsible for. It's not all about money. I didn't grow up with any money. My father passed away. I was 19 years old. I was a sophomore in college. But he had instilled in me all the characteristics that I needed to be a man. So my opinion is that a man needs to be able to provide that to his children or the people that he's responsible for, and that's true providership.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I think that definitely piggyback off on one time. I think being a provider, first and foremost, is as a man you're entitled to be the leader, first and foremost, the protector. And that's from everything. That's from the world, right? So if you're talking about your wife, if you're talking about your children, you need to protect them, lead them. And if you're talking about providing, that's anything. Everything falls under that category of providing, if that's financially. Even if that's figuring out how to get the money. So even if you come as a man, if you're in a situation where you don't have the money, let's just say financially, it's your responsibility and job to figure out how to get the money. Even if I got to borrow the money from my brother, I have to go get the money. If my son and my daughter, or whatever the situation might be, my wife needs this, whatever the situation might be, if they need that, I need to find a way to figure it out. It is my job to figure out whatever problems it is with the family and solve them. So I think that's, providing.
Thank you.
I actually want to chime in, but I got that question actually gives me a little pause. I think it gives me pause because as I've lived life more, I realize it's a more broad question than we actually take the time to really think about, right? So for example, as a man, how can I provide provision for a woman or a family if I'm so wounded that I don't know my wounds are showing up more than the care I'm trying to provide for people? So like when I really think about it, for me, provision as a man starts with I have 3 sons. I've been focusing on teaching my sons how to take the time to heal when hurt, because I think one of the things is men become so comfortable carrying pain that pain becomes a level of comfort that we use as an excuse in our functioning. So for me, provision really becomes about I need to take some time to heal. So as I do meet the needs of my wife, significant other, if I'm dating, that I don't have this underlying resentment if my needs can't be met by that person, because everybody you date and everybody you marry is not equipped to meet your needs in the beginning. We do not give each other the grace to develop.
That's good. All right, we'll move on to the next.
After that, yeah.
All right.
As a matter of fact, let Eric go last. Nobody's following Eric.
Blame Corey.
What was the hardest lesson you had to learn about being a man?
So I'll go. I feel like that was going to be another one where everybody. The hardest lesson I learned is that my pain doesn't give me an excuse to hurt other people. I think people clap, but like, do you know how hard it is to be vulnerable after you've been broken? Like, do you know what it's really like to go into a space and need validation and know that nobody's going to acknowledge you, take the time to encourage you, or even think about what you may go through? Because often in relationships, whether it's parent-child, whether you're dating or whether you're married, you too busy competing instead of collaborating. So for me, back to, I just want my sons and kind of the men I come in contact with to be better. Not better men, just better. Like, and some of it comes from, I guess, this traditional principle of the barbershop used to be our safe space. But like, we gotta understand being in spaces like Rebirth Live gotta be our safe spaces to restore and rebuild. Because truth be told, sometimes men are living truths, but they're living other people's truths.
Whoa! That's good.
Against my better judgment, I'm gonna go out there. I think my hardest lesson was understanding that me being validated as a man did not have anything to do with the amount of women I could sleep with. I think when you're younger, we often hold our value and who we are as men by the number of women we have. As you grow older, you be like, that was a lot of wasted time and energy on situations that didn't really mean a lot. So that was something I had to figure out. 'Cause as a youngster, want to give it to me, I was going to take it. And that wasn't really necessarily a move. That's not anything I preach to the kids that I work with currently. You know better, you do better. But yeah, I think a lot of us found out validation. Well, I'm going to say me. I won't say everybody, but we found out validation through the number of women we could sleep with, the kind of car we had, and maybe how much money we had in our pocket. That shit is not important. As you become a man, you understand that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, I think that I'm still learning, right? I don't think that we ever stop learning. I think the time that we pause and say we got it all figured out, we really don't, right? I think that forgiveness is something that I'm consistently learning. I had to learn that I didn't know how to accept love, right? And I was running from my problems, and the quickest way to address my problems was to turn around and face them, right? And I think that I learned that lesson at 40 years old. And I couldn't learn it until I met my mom. Right? And I noticed that changed something for me in how I look at women, how I have a conversation with my daughter. Right? We had a great conversation today, right? She helped me. She was in my closet, like, you should wear this and you should look at this. And we just had a conversation. I said, yo, Shay, like how you feeling? Like, we pass each other, like she's working, I'm working. And I think that we are consistently learning how to continue to be better men.
That's good.
Right? So I think that's the biggest lesson, that it's a journey, it's not a destination.
Thank you. Anybody else before we move on? Okay. All right, so this is ladies, this question is for y'all. What is it about a woman that will not make you wife her?
That's a good question.
I answered my question.
What is it about a woman that will not make you wife her?
Okay, that's it. Come on,
Step to the mic, man. First of all, I'm just scratching the surface. I mean, I'm 22 years old. I ain't even looking at marriage right now. But I think that if anything, lack of communication. If I can't communicate with you, then I mean that's really going to draw me off. Because if I'm trying my hardest to approach you with a situation, but in return you're not doing the same, then I mean I'm just like, okay, well it's not going to work. And I'm not going to do that after the first time. Like, I give it time. Like, I got to be patient with that. But if I'm to expect you to be patient with me, I have to be patient with you. But at the same time, if we're not getting nowhere, then it doesn't make sense to me.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Well, okay, I go ahead. I can talk for 5 days. I like to let other people go. But I mean, so many things that you can pinpoint, right? That's any men and women. But I think it really boils down to, for me, is morally How's our morals? Because you can't teach morals. All the other stuff you can work through, you can figure out, you can communicate, you can work through those, those mazes or whatever. But I think morally, how is she as a woman? How does she think? How does she look at certain things? Mm-hmm. That's going to determine if I can wife her or not. Like I said, it's a whole bunch of other things. I mean, it's things in general, but morally, I think that's where I'm going to start at.
Okay, that's fair.
Shay, I think there's...
Eric, I'm sorry.
It's all good. Man, I was out, so let me say this too. I did a disclaimer because I gotta be at a certain address when this is over and be sick. So, when I was dating prior to being married, I realized this is true of me. I would leave a woman alone if she was unable to identify she was too afraid to let me love her. Like it was a real turnoff for me. Like almost like we were emotionally fighting each other. Like she just wasn't. And interestingly, I think in some of those instances, I didn't really give a lot of feedback or communication, and I caused those women a lot of pain. I think they were more invested in who I was at the moment than I was willing to invest in them, because I saw we were on two different paths. Like, and for me, it really came down to, I wanted to love that particular woman, but I don't know if she was in a place where she wanted to deal with her pain. And to me, pain is a personal thing. Just because I want to love you don't mean I have a right to drag you through getting better. Like, you gotta choose to get better.
Oh, I think he was going.
I think, Shay, that there's a large population of women right now who have created their own checklist of what a man should appreciate. And that would be a deal breaker. We sat over in the row over there doing the women's segment, and there were a lot of characteristics and a lot of things that were talked about. But I didn't hear the word love once. I think, Ed tried to usher in that conversation, but I think most men, I'm gonna use broken English. I want a woman that got me. Do you got me? Do you love me? I don't care about your W-2. I don't care about your title. Do you got me? Do you got me? And that wasn't talked about one time.
I said something, Oliver.
But that's a deal breaker. That's a deal breaker. If you come into the situation with a checklist that I'm supposed to appreciate, we probably not gonna work out.
Okay.
So say real
Thank
quick,
you,
I
Oliver.
have a very primitive answer to this,
Okay.
and I'm sure the fellows can understand this. We can't go any further than, we can't go anywhere if you stank it. You don't want to say it. You don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it. We can never get to the wifey thoughts. If your hygiene is bad, you can't go nowhere. Where do we go from there? So if you stinking, you can't do it.
You ever had a girl that stink?
Nah, it started out once I realized it the stink. That was it.
How many days was it? How many days did you go on?
I need you clean and with all your limbs.
So, real quick, I think the answer for me will always be attitude, right? How you address me, how your attitude shows up for me will be a deal breaker for me. But my question to pivot to the men also off of that is, how quick do you know you're not going to wife her?
That's good.
That's a good question, Corey.
I can go first.
You know what happens? Right after sex, and that happens, you're sitting there thinking like, what the hell did I do? If you're doing that, you know you're not gonna wife her. And right after that moment, and you're laying there, you're like, I shouldn't have did this. If you're doing that, you're not gonna wife her. This is man talk. Y'all not here. It's just men and fellows. They being shy.
Live and uncut.
This is at the barbershop, but they're being shy right now. But it's real.
So is that your post-nut clarity? This is adult talk. That's what it was. That's exactly what it is. I got you. I'm going to say it for you.
Miss Williams is here. I didn't say that part.
That's what it is. Yes. Absolutely. I'm going to go with the Cousin Corey, because Cousin Corey going to set the tone. Come on, Cousin Corey.
How quick do I know? How fast do you know that you're not going to wake up?
Oh, wow.
I got you. I think that men and women, but definitely men, I think we might not know exactly, but I think when we approach you or when we see you, we do put you in a category. And then what happens as we get to know you, you can move through certain categories. Certain women might not. You know, we kind of know your past and quote unquote, they look at you as a hoe. Most, if a man look at you as a hoe, it's hard to move from hoe category to housewife. It's hard to move from that. But if I don't know you and you get to know each other, but first I meet you and I'm just sexually attracted to a woman, that's going to fit a physical, right? But then if I get to know you, you can move into a different category. Say if I meet someone and it's not necessarily a physical attraction, but we have great conversation, she's very intellectual, we're connect on that way, I'm kind of looking at it as like, oh, somebody I could probably see where this goes. And then it might move into, oh, she just is what it is. So I think in categories you can move. But in the beginning, you kind of approach them, they're in a category. It's just after you get to know them, which category do they fall in?
Okay.
That first situation, which is a situation where maybe you have to forgive, or maybe you have to compromise, or maybe you have to make changes to yourself for the other person's happiness. If you run into that situation and she's not willing to do those things, that's probably when you know she needs to.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. And
I got a question though, because I was thinking about this in reference to that question, and maybe this could be for the next panel, right? What is it about when a woman realizes a man doesn't want her? Why is so much difficulty for the woman to separate? Like, cause it's obvious, cause my family is comprised of mostly women, my peer group is mostly women, the work we do is mostly women, and it's obvious to me when women come talk to us, they're often in situations asking other men, what is it that I should be doing, when the reality is, every man is not gonna pick every woman. Like, it's not per se that something's wrong with you. He may not just be right for you and you may not be right for him, but I don't know why there's so much energy put into trying to be with someone that doesn't validate or find value. Like, I don't get that. Like, and I think, and I could be wrong, but I think for a lot of women, they end up in this gray space of trying to pursue men that aren't really worthy of who they are.
all right. Okay, men. Women are conditioned to expect certain things from men, like safety, providership, and leadership. We talked about that earlier. What are men conditioned to expect from a woman?
Okay. I'm always good. Denzel, what's up, baby? Come on. You're the youngest in the room. I'm gonna come to you, man. I ain't gonna let you be shy down there.
I think the other question, part of to that too, is were you taught that? Were you taught what to expect from a woman? Right? Because I think that women are taught you should expect a man to provide for you. He should protect you. He should do these things. Right? However, right, but from a man, I don't know. I don't remember ever having that conversation. Here's what you should expect from a woman as you get older.
So what do you expect from a woman?
Yeah, what do you expect from a woman as you get older? What should you expect?
I'm asking you.
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah.
I think that you should expect a woman to treat you right, right? And I think treating you right is they should learn how to talk to you a certain type of way, right? I think when we get past the cooking and the cleaning and all that other stuff, because I think that's between us. We should be able to navigate that in our relationship. Maybe you do certain things well and I do certain things well, but how you treat me and how you show up to me is super important to me. Do you pray for me at all? right?
Yeah.
Is that a conversation? Is that something that happens? How do you care for my children?
But Corey, that goes back to their heart and who they are. You can't pretend to be those things. You can't pretend to be those things. You can audition until you get the ring. You can tap dance until you get the ring, but you can't pretend to be those person. If she's not a loving, forgiving, long-suffering individual, that's not something you can pretend to be. So she gonna curse you out.
Agreed.
She gonna curse you out in those situations where she should be saying sweet words.
So I think you're right. But there's a lot of broken men walking around here as well, right? And because you're
what's the definition of a broken man?
You're also broken because of maybe what happened between you and your past relationship. We talked about it earlier. Like, women have maybe issues with I can't deal with other women because of your past relationships with other women. Men do the same thing, right? And we put these expectations on women to show up for us a certain way because somebody else didn't show up for us a certain way. And it's not fair to them and how we expect women to show up for us, right? So for what are the things that we should be asking for? So because we're broken, we're putting unrealistic expectations on these women to show up for us, right? So I had to learn that the broken part in me was never going to find the woman that was supposed to be for me because the issue was Corey. And I think a lot of us have to be honest with ourselves to say, what's wrong with you before you start going out here and start expecting women to show up a certain type of way for you? You're not showing up that way for yourself. Right? So I think the difference between me at 33 and the difference between me at 43 next month, right? It's night and day because I'm very honest with myself, right? And it's less about sex for me. It's less about the women that are attached to me. It's less about all of those things. It's more about the conversation I'm willing to have with myself or the conversation I'm willing to have with the people that may have hurt me. I got to go deal with that before I can go expect something from somebody else. And I think there's a lot of men, you hear it, right? And when you think about the conversation that happened with Cam Newton, or you think about the conversation that happened with Nick Cannon, that's insane to have that many kids by that many different women, right? Because there's something broken in him. So I would challenge men that we have to go address what's wrong with us. But we have to have a community of men that are willing to go have that conversation. Stop waiting to have the woman to have the conversation with you. Us as men, I'm just saying, men that are sitting here, we should be willing to go have that conversation in the back and say, what the hell is wrong with you? Or what's going on with you? So that's my answer for me. I can't speak to, I'm curious to what you all think about that same conversation.
You know what I've learned? I've learned that in my 5 decades on this earth, the more I think I know about women, the less I know. I think that women change at a more rapid pace than men, and I feel like sometimes we're always down by 20 points. We started the game down by 20 points in the fourth quarter with 10 seconds on the clock. That's how we come into it. So we're trying to always catch up and figure out how to love you, because how I loved you last Wednesday, 7 days later, that doesn't work. Y'all are confusing as hell and trying to not figure you out, but just trying to keep up a little bit, trying to take it down to being down 10 points in the fourth quarter is a task. So I would challenge the women to just help us out, because I'm going to tell you we're dumb and we don't know. Sometimes you have to tell us. And if you tell us and we don't listen, then that's a whole other thing. If you're moving at a pace that we don't know, or that we're behind, that's a whole another thing. You guys change. Women, I feel like women change so much. We're like stuck on the same shit for a long time, sometimes. And a woman was like, yeah, well, I loved him like this in 2015. It's 2024. He cool. But you can't do that with no woman. You better be right there every step of the way, or oh boy, the job. He already sweeped it out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying the communication would be appreciated, and then we would know what to expect or how to love you. Sometimes y'all just move 10 steps ahead of us and we're behind. That's how I feel.
And I would say that individuals, male or female, if your decision making is based on your foundation, whatever that is, you're not going to be switching up every week. So if you're a spiritual woman or a Christian woman, and the decisions that you make and the way that you behave and the way that you respond is built on a certain principles, you're not going to be flipping it up every week. And you don't have to wonder how she's going to behave next week. So I would say that male or female, if your behavior changes like that, it could be because your decisions aren't based on any real foundation. You know, they could be just emotions.
Can I ask what the original question was again?
I think you go for it.
The question was, what are main conditions to expect from women?
Wow. I think I'll skip this one.
Okay.
I'll say this because this is like on my heart. I know for me in my journey to become more authentic in who I am, what I've needed and what I've often lacked in relationship is that a woman give me all of her so I can show up and give all of me. And I think it's been kind of like missing the bus for me. Like I was in the relationship, but I was never really invested in it. It was almost like we playing house. But I've very rarely been in relationships prior to being married and felt like there was a need to come home. Felt like there was a need to invest in a relationship because truth be told, we were just playing house. Like there was no authentic presentation of who the woman was. And I mean, she did the basic things, cook, clean, took care of the house, things like that. But like, if I can't say to you as a man, I don't know and feel comfortable that you're not going to come back at me, or I can't say that's too painful for me to do, and you don't have grace for me, then what's the point of us being together?
It's okay if I tap on that just real quick. I mean, like you said, I think that I heard this before. When you're younger, home is a place. And as you get to a certain age as a man, home is a person. So I expect from a woman to be my home. Just as well as on a women's panel, they said when she comes home, she wants it from being a boss bitch, right? She wants to get into her femininity, which we understand. As a man, we want to protect you. Cool, get into your femininity. But when we come home, I need whoever it is, that woman to be my home, my safe space, my support. Because if I'm going out here battling the world, I don't want to come home and battle you. I need you to be my support. I mean, come home. Why we sleep? So we can replenish our body. When I come home, I need you to be able to replenish me. I want to come home to a happy home. Like you said, you was playing house. You probably didn't want to go home.
I went home.
You wasn't home. Like I said, home to me, when you get older, home is the person. So what I expect is her to be that home.
Okay, we're going to move to the next question. Thank you. A woman becomes emotionally homeless when she is not able to talk to her man. What advice can you give to men on communication in a relationship?
Oh, can I go first? Gotcha, I'm going to go first on this one. What I have learned, I hear people talk a lot, and you even said it too. Men being broken, right? But what I have learned is when you do find a healed man as a woman, it's very hard. What I learned is that most women are broken as well. And if you got a man who can effectively communicate with you, what I have learned is women have a tough time effectively communicating. What normally happens was the man was normally the first one to bow out. So you hear a lot of women say, men don't communicate because they bowed out first. But when you get a man who's healed, who's strong enough, who's vulnerable in his emotion, but still strong enough to be a man and have that conversation and not let you shut down, what I have learned is that women have a hard time conveying how they feel as well. So what happens is, like people say, women say that they want a healed man. Be careful what you ask for, because when you get a healed man, now you have to look in the mirror, you have to address your own insecurities, right? And women say a lot that, why women, you hear it all the time. I know all these guys hear it all the time. Men, I keep getting these projects. I keep getting these project men. Because actually you want that project man. because you want to subconsciously put so much into him to build him because you don't want to have to face what's inside of you. Your own personal insecurities. Now, like Brother Corey said, Brother E got the deep voice, so he can do all that. But when you get a man who's healed, he wants to help you. Now, as a man, I know if I'm trying to help you as a woman and you don't allow me to help you emotionally, at a certain time, I'm going to bow out. And now you're talking to me like, oh, you went out of this relationship. No, I tried to help you 5 times, 10 times. When do we say, I am cool? Because as a man, if I'm coming along, if I'm healed, I got my ish together, why would I settle for this woman if I can go get Michelle? If I'm Obama, I want Michelle. I don't want Condoleezza Rice. Or Megan Thee Stallion. I don't want Megan Thee Stallion. I don't. I want Michelle.
Thank you. All right. So this is a question actually that came in from the audience. So I want you guys to really listen to this because she really wants to get the opinions from men. I recently attended DSU homecoming.
Gotta go.
I recently attended DSU homecoming, and my daughter is a freshman there. She was walking past a group of grown men when they tried to talk to her. She politely declined. They began to call her out of her name. And again, she politely declined. Why do men have issues with rejection?
Thank you. That's a good question.
Well, I don't think that, y'all gotta let me know if I'm talking too much because you just said Dell State. For the record, that probably wasn't somebody who graduated from Dell State.
Right.
Go ahead, as Kevin Hart said to the niggas on campus. But I think that men, we're used to rejection because we're normally the approacher. But I think in those situations, not that that man is, afraid of the rejection. I think it's just that he's that person. Like their environments, how they grew up or how they are as a man. I don't think it's the rejection part. I just think it's their mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think it's just the, what's the word? Help me out. I can't think of the word, but it's just long story short, it's their mentality. Like they come from, normally that's somebody who came from the hood, who never made it out the hood, right? And they probably, it wasn't that they got rejected, they probably just feel embarrassed. Yeah, because this is a college girl, a young college girl, and it's their own insecurities about who they are. They felt small. It wasn't necessarily the rejection, they just felt small and embarrassed.
So that's the ego?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely the ego.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah, but what I think too is hold up, wait a minute. I think a man would not approach a woman in that situation. Plus, a group of men that are healthy would have checked each other. So the reality is, I think the appropriate response is that young woman got approached by males. Because a man's not going to not let another man do that. Like, if I'm around Corey and Corey's doing that and Corey's 40 and she's 20, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, that's what you do. Or I'm going to give you the time or the look, like, what are you doing right now? Like, come on, man, come on back over here. So, like, I think that was an example of us being characterized by the behavior of males.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, so we have one more question for the male panel, and then we're going to take, like, a quick intermission for those of you that may have to use the bathroom or want to visit the vendors before they start shutting down. Okay? But come back because now it's your turn to ask everybody on the panel whatever it is that you want to ask. Okay. Men, when a woman goes silent, she is checked out. Ladies, would you agree with that? Silence is louder than her sound. What does it look like when a man is checked out? Denzel, you are going to speak tonight.
I think that's the same way. Cause I know personally for me, if I'm checked out, I'm definitely shut down. But it's like a way for me to regather my thoughts. It's not as in a way where I'm just like I don't want to talk to you. It's just like I'm not trying to just reply off of how I'm feeling in that moment because that might be a disrespectful way. And I'm not the type of guy that likes to be disrespectful to a woman. I'm not calling her out her name or anything like that. But I want to take my time to respond so we can talk about it in a civilized way instead of going back and forth because arguing is not going to get nowhere. So that's really my way of shutting down. It's not really like I'm not trying to deal with the situation. It's just like I want to handle it in the right way.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
A man's looking for reasons not to come home. So the guy who gets off at 5 o'clock and normally gets home at 5:30, all of a sudden he's going to the gym, or he's going to happy hour, or he's meeting up with his boys to watch the game. He's checked out. If he's not rushing home to see you no more, he checked out. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Thanks, Oliver. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I think it's similar. When I'm not feeling it, I don't have anything to say. I'm trying to gather my thoughts and kind of pull myself together. I think sometimes some women, I think it's just something all the time, and it's just a constant. Actually, some women, it's a constant battle and a beatdown of the man within the relationship. So it's easy to look to move over here or to check out. I think some women need to be cognizant of, like sometimes I'm just like, please stop talking to me. And when I say that, like I really get really dumb. Like, and I'm saying it respectfully, like just please stop talking to me. Because now I need a minute because I don't want to say anything that's going to be disrespectful out of pocket. But I think some women sometimes they don't know when to quit, and they just go on and they go on and they go on. And I think they put men in a position to where they may make a bad decision or make a statement that they shouldn't make. So when a man is telling you to give me a minute and let me be, I think you women have to respect that. That's my answer.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'll say I just shut down and limit my communication with you until I get myself together. I was watching this divorce attorney talk about just divorce, and he talked about, obviously he's a divorce attorney, you spend a lot of time with the person that you were representing. And he asked the wife the question, like, how did you know the relationship was over? Because she was the one that filed. And she said, well, I've been with my husband 20 years. And I like to eat oatmeal almost every morning. And I like to put granola in my oatmeal. Every time that my granola would get low, he would always replenish it with another bag. In 20 years, it never got low. The day that I went to the cupboard and the granola was gone and he didn't replenish it, I knew my relationship was over. Right? So I think it's important for us. I think women's intuition is super powerful, right? But it has to be powerful even when you know that he's not happy. And you have to spin into action. Because that's really what we want. We want you to come get us. We really don't want to leave you. If you look at divorce, women typically are the ones that file for divorce at a higher rate. We want you to come get us. So I think that we shut down. The slower that we are, or TDJ said, we're like fish. Next time you wake up and you go to the fish tank, the fish are just dead. You don't hear them screaming. You don't hear them gasping for air. They're just gone. And sometimes when you look at him and he's slow to get out of bed, he has to text you good morning, he has to come downstairs at the normal time, your relationship is dying. It's dying. That's not the time for you to call your girlfriends. It's not the time for you to call your friends and say, what's wrong with such and such? What's wrong with such and such? You need to go to him and have a conversation and say, what's going on? And I don't think that happens enough.